chapter 130 to 132. In any case, as an angel, he definitely didn't dare to betray the Grand Priest, even though he did like Goten a lot. Beerus gritted his teeth angrily. If even Weiss was unwilling to help them now, then they wouldn't even know where Goten had been taken, let alone the unrealistic prospect of a rescue. Whis, Goten is my son no matter what. Whether you want to accompany us or not, at least tell us where he is now, Goku also begged. For Goten, he had always felt great guilt. The reason why Goten fought Murno this time and killed the god of destruction of the fourth universe was entirely to protect the Earth and the seventh universe. He felt that even an angel should not be so unreasonable, since what Goten did was to protect everyone. I can't help you with this matter, and I won't help you. If you want to do this, I will stop you. Your thinking is very dangerous now, thinking of confronting Lord Zeno and Lord Grand Priest. I won't allow this. Besides, I don't want to watch you die meaninglessly, Whis said in a very firm voice. Allowing them to fight against the Grand Priest and Zeno was simply courting death. The rules they once set cannot be shaken by anyone. Trying to challenge their authority in vain would lead to death. In Zeno's eyes, whether it was mortals like Goku or Beerus, the god of destruction, they were all like ants. They could be easily erased with a wave of his hand. It was as simple as erasing a small ant. You don't have to worry about us, Whis. It seems that I thought too highly of you before. It seems that what Murno said is right. You guys really have no sense of morality. Beerus snorted again and said in disgust. This guy seemed to be completely different from the Whis he knew before. His firm stance was terrifying. It seemed that all feelings and emotions were a kind of sin in his view. What an extreme idea this was, like a tool without any feelings of his own. Whoosh! And at this moment, Shin suddenly appeared in the God of Destruction realm with the old Kai and Kibito through instant movement. Lord Beerus, Mr. Goku, Mr. Vegeta, have you found a solution to Goten? Shin first greeted Beerus and Goku, then he anxiously asked about the result. Ever since he knew that Goten was taken away by the Grand Priest, he was anxious like an ant on a hot pan. Because since getting to know Goten, Goten treated him as a friend, and he never relied on his own strength to show off his might in front of him or make him uncomfortable. Moreover, he helped him release the ancestor and solve the nightmare Majin Buu in his heart. So, in his heart, he had long regarded Goten as his best friend. Now that he heard that his friend was in trouble, he naturally wanted to come over and help. Idiot! Do you still need to ask this kind of thing? You can know the answer just by looking at their expressions. Old Kai immediately cursed and said. In fact, he also stopped Shin before, telling him not to get involved in this matter. Because this matter was dealt with by the Grand Priest, and it would be Zeno who would finally resolve it. No matter which of these two people it was, Shin couldn't offend them. But this unfilial boy seemed to have eaten the guts of a tiger and made up his mind to meddle in this muddy water desperately. And he also touted about a lot of morals and virtues. He didn't even hesitate to quarrel with his own ancestor. In the end, the old Kai really couldn't hold him back, so he had to follow along. Lord Shin, we don't even know where Goten is now. Whis is the only one who might know about Goten's whereabouts, but he won't tell us, Goku replied with a serious face. As for Beerus, he didn't even look at these Supreme Kais in the eye, because in his mind these guys couldn't help at all. All they would do was just add to the chaos. What should I do then? Shin felt deflated instantly. Although they, the Supreme Kai, did have a lot of abilities, in this matter, he really couldn't be of help. There was no way they could find Goten, who was being held by the Grand Priest. Don't you see that's what we're figuring out? If you really come to help, let's find a way together, Beerus said angrily. Of course, the reason why he was angry was because Whis was being so stubborn. Whatever they said, he stood firm and was not willing to help in the slightest. Several people just sat there. A day passed in a blink of an eye, but they had no clue. Everyone don't think about it anymore. Although Goten committed a crime, he shouldn't be punished by death. Lord Zeno still likes him, so he shouldn't be put to death directly. So everyone should give up this idea and do what you should do, Whis suggested again, looking at the frowning crowd. In fact, what he did was also for the good of Beerus and the others. It would have been impossible to rescue Goten with only passion. There was a 90% chance that they would get themselves into trouble. This was not loyalty, it was stupidity. Even if they found Goten, they would eventually get themselves in trouble, possibly leading Zeno to destroy them all. This was extremely suicidal. Darn it, don't talk, Beerus immediately cursed at Whis. He was obviously very disappointed and unhappy with Whis at this time. Lord Beerus, I have thought of a way, Vegeta spoke suddenly. What way? Say it quickly. Everyone immediately turned their attention to Vegeta. Using the Super Dragon Balls, it might be possible to bring Goten back. Even if we can't bring him back, at least we can know his whereabouts, Vegeta suggested. This was the best idea he could think of because, apart from an angel, the only one who could know Goten's whereabouts was Super Shenron. Yes! Why didn't I think of this? Great! As long as Super Shenron is summoned, we can find him for sure. Goku, Vegeta, and Gohan, let's split up and find the Super Dragon Balls, Beerus instructed the three of them. Then he looked at Shin and the others and said, Hurry up and come together, both of you! After all, Supreme Kai's instant transmission was very useful. Good, everyone nodded. Hope rekindled in their hearts. Although Whis wanted to stop them, he ultimately chose not to make a move. Since they wanted to challenge the authority of Zeno and the Grand Priest, let them do it. He tried to dissuade them, but they did not listen to him at all. He only hoped that they wouldn't be punished harshly. 2 days passed quickly. Several people searched almost every corner of the two universes, but didn't find a single Super Dragon Ball. Helplessly, everyone returned to the God of Destruction realm again. Lord Beerus, even with the Super Dragon Ball radar, we haven't found a single Super Dragon Ball. It seems that in the 7th universe and the 6th universe, the Super Dragon Balls no longer exist, Goku said in despair. The Super Dragon Balls were their only hope, and now that hope seemed dashed. Everyone frowned again. It seemed impossible to rescue Goten. They had to believe Whis' words. With their abilities, they couldn't find Goten. Even if they did find him, they wouldn't be able to save him. As everyone was almost desperate, a portal suddenly appeared in the sky of the God of Destruction realm. Immediately afterward, a figure flew out from the dimensional portal. This figure was Murno. Whis and Beerus felt Murno's presence immediately, then raised their heads abruptly. Big Brother Murno? What's going on? Wasn't he taken away by his father? Whis muttered to himself with a puzzled expression. He and Goten made similar mistakes, and Murno's mistakes were even more serious, as he instigated a battle between multiple gods of destruction and Goten, which even resulted in the death of Quitella. But why was he free so soon? As for Goten, there were still no whereabouts. Everyone didn't notice that a fully formed flower pattern on the back of Murno's hand. Damn bastard, it's you again! Beerus's anger was fully charged the moment he saw Murno. He jumped and attacked Murno directly. If it weren't for this bastard, Goten would not have been taken away by the Grand Priest, and there had been no news of him so far. Seeing him, Goku and Vegeta also instantly transformed into Super Saiyan Blue and rushed directly towards Murno. Murno didn't move. The key aura around his body easily blocked the attack of the three. Then he said lightly, "It seems that everyone is worrying about Goten. Don't be so angry. I'm here to help you rescue Goten." Of course, no one believed his words. The three launched a storm-like attack again. Murno shook his head with a faint smile still on the corner of his mouth. Obviously, reasoning with these guys required calming them down first. His body disappeared like a mirage. Bang! 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 With the sound of 3 collisions, the pupils of Beerus, Goku, and Vegeta shrank instantly. Immediately afterward, their bodies fell to the ground uncontrollably. After all, compared with Murno's strength, there was still a huge gap between them. Everyone, can you listen to me now? What I just said is not a lie. I am here to help you save Goten, and I know where he's being held. Murno said, looking at Beerus and Vegeta, who had lost their combat effectiveness. Stop farting here, you bastard. If it wasn't for you, Goten would never have been taken by the Grand Priest. Now you're pretending to be here and saying such sanctimonious nonsense. Do you think we are all fools who would believe such words? Beerus immediately cursed loudly. When he decided to rescue Goten, he was already prepared to die. So, in his eyes, the so-called angel was nothing but bullshit. He was going to fight him to death. It's okay if you don't believe it. I will prove it to you with my actions. Goten is now imprisoned in the Void Realm. According to the time ratio between the outside and the Void Realm, he has been imprisoned inside for 75 years. And if I want to go to that place and get Goten out, I can't do it alone. I need a god of destruction and a supreme Kai to join me. Murno put away his smile and then said very seriously, although his strength was much stronger than other angels, compared with the Grand Priest, there was still a very big gap. Therefore, it was impossible to rescue Goten by relying on one person's power. So, it was necessary to rely on the pure power of laws of God of Destruction and Supreme Kai. Void Realm? What's that place? Goku and Vegeta were taken aback for a moment. They had never heard of such a place. However, the expressions of Beerus and Whis suddenly changed. How did I forget about that place? Generally, gods who have committed serious crimes would be imprisoned in that place. Beerus suddenly realized. Perhaps it was because he subconsciously felt that Goten was just an ordinary mortal, so he didn't think of the Void Realm. But even if he thought about it, it was impossible for a god of destruction to reach that kind of place. Brother, please stop talking. Are you really going to tear yourself apart from Father and the others? If you continue to do this, I must report this matter to Father, Whis immediately said to Murno. The more people involved in this matter, the more people would be killed. This was something he didn't want to see. Almost forgot about you, my dearest little brother. I used to love you the most, and I thought you were the angel most like me. But now it seems that you really disappointed me. You didn't even tell Lord Beerus the news. Murno looked at Whis disappointedly. When the 13th universe still existed, he had the best relationship with Whis. This kid was like his own follower, often coming to him. At that time, he also felt that Whis was very similar to himself, kind and caring. But now, it seemed that the two of them were completely different. As time went by, Whis became more and more like that old stubborn Grand Priest. No matter what you say, I will stop you. I'm doing this to save you, Whis said very seriously. He didn't want him to be wiped out by Zeno the moment he met his good brother, and Beerus and the others. Even if they rescued Goten, so what? In the end, they could not escape the fate of being erased. If they didn't do anything now, maybe Goten could still be saved. Stop being hypocritical here. Now you are exactly the same as that old man. Every day you just keep justifying the decisions of that little kid and cater to his every whim. If you want to report, I'm afraid you won't have that chance. After Murno's voice fell, he made a portal at will, and Whis's body was directly absorbed into it. Whis, you just stay in the gap between the dimensions, and after the matter is over, you will be able to come out naturally, Murno said, glancing at the place where Whis had just disappeared. Then he turned to Beerus. I'll take care of all your injuries next, and you'll go to rescue Goten with me. However, not many people can go to that place. Lord Beerus, Supreme Kai, and I will go. Murno glanced at Goku and Vegeta. Although they could be regarded as the top existence among mortals, if they reached the Void Realm, they wouldn't be able to help. They might even become a burden. Damn! It seems that I can only trust you! Beerus gritted his teeth. They had no other choice now. After treating Beerus's injuries, Murno instantly summoned a portal. Then the bodies of the three disappeared from the God of Destruction realm. TN. Don't blame Whis. He's being realistic. He knows that Goten would be dealt with leniently by Zeno. But if these guys participate, the matter would blow over and Zeno might have to make an example. It's like difference between public hearing and private hearing. The latter is less likely to result in harsh punishments, while the former can result in harsher punishment to retain dignity and maintain image. At this time, Goten, who was in the Void Realm, had been in this empty space for 75 years. He counted the time almost every day. 75 years was enough to drive a normal person completely crazy. 75 years. Exactly 75 years. Goten muttered. Zeno, Grand Priest, I will make you pay 100 times over for today's pain. TN. Viola, now Videl is too young. Grandpa Goten and Lil Videl. Goten was restrained by iron chains, his head bowed, but his eyes were completely scarlet. Anger, frustration, loneliness, all emotions seemed to consume his reason constantly. Ha! At this moment, Goten roared suddenly. The aura flames around his body erupted instantly. This time, the Ki aura was not grass green, but strands of fine purple-pink electric arcs. Simultaneously, his hair turned red with purple hue, resembling Super Saiyan Fo, but completely different. All the hair on his body was covered with tiny purple-pink electric arcs. This form was the similar to Goku's and Vegeta's Limit Break Super Saiyan I-4 in Dragon Ball Heroes. Over the past 75 years, despite enduring everlasting loneliness, his strength had undergone a dramatic transformation. He comprehended the form of Super Saiyan God and then perfectly combined Super Saiyan I-4 and Super Saiyan God Kai. Thus was born the Limit Break Super Saiyan I-4, also called Super Saiyan I-4 God. This strength was vastly different from the previous Super Saiyan I-4. However, Goten felt despair. Despite his earth-shattering changes in strength, even when he felt his power rivaled the Grand Priest's, he still couldn't break free from the iron chains or leave the Void Realm. Ha! With a hysterical roar, the electric arcs around Goten's body intensified, and his Kai aura grew stronger. Despite this, the iron chains remained motionless, showing no signs of being destroyed. This situation lasted for 5 minutes before Goten gave up. He tried every day but failed every day. For 75 years, he constantly tried to break free from these chains and leave this place, but each attempt brought despair, returning him to normalcy. In the next second, a purple light shot out from his eyes. Simultaneously, a surge of Kai rose around his body. His eyebrows disappeared and his brow bone raised high. His originally black hair turned silver white with purple hues mixed in. At this time, his body no longer held any mortal ki, but an incomparably rich and terrifying divine power. This form resulted from his 75 years of training, a perfect fusion of perfect ultra instinct and perfect ultra ego. When exercising ultra instinct, he no longer needed to maintain a stable mind. Under any mood, ultra instinct could be perfectly controlled. For Goten, ultra instinct or ultra ego was just a transformation, not a realm like Angel and the others. After becoming this form, Goten tried again. Terrifying purple destructive energy surged out like a vast sea, filling the entire Void Realm. Despite this, the iron chains remained motionless. Tens of thousands of attempts always brought despair. Without firm perseverance, he would have collapsed by now. Zeno, Grand Priest, and that damn Murno! I will never let you go! Absolutely not! Goten roared hysterically like a madman. For 75 years, they had ignored him. He would settle this account with them. After struggling in vain, Goten bowed his head again. Whoosh! At that moment, a slight sound suddenly occurred. Having been alone for over 70 years, Goten was particularly sensitive to sound. Upon hearing the slight sound of breaking through the air, he suddenly raised his head. He saw a portal, and in the next second, 3 figures emerged from the dimensional portal. It was Murno, Beerus, and Shin. Goten. "Goten! We finally found you!" Beerus exclaimed. Seeing Goten bound by countless iron chains, Beerus's eyes filled with distress. Although others saw him as a cold-blooded god of destruction, he felt deeply for Goten's terrible situation. Completely restrained by iron chains, Goten had become much more haggard and was entirely different from a few days ago. His eyes were filled with reddish cracks. "Goten!" Shin's voice trailed off, filled with concern. "How did this happen? It's only been a few days. Looking at Goten's state, it's like he stayed here for hundreds of years." He observed Goten with a worried expression. The change in Goten was drastic. He looked emaciated, completely different from the Goten he had known. Shin couldn't fathom the suffering Goten endured in this ghostly place or how long he had been imprisoned. "Beerus, Shin, you are finally here. 75 years. I have been waiting for 75 years. Have you finally come to rescue me?" Upon seeing the 2 familiar figures, crystal tears appeared in Goten's scarlet eyes. He saw the concern in their eyes, and a warm current flowed through his heart. For the first time in 75 years, he felt warmth. "Goten, don't be afraid. We'll get you out of here right away. Even if I risk my life, I will definitely take you out of here," Beerus declared seriously. Seeing Goten in this state really hurt him. When Goten saw Murno again, his facial features twisted with rage. His eyes became like those of an ancient ferocious beast, sealed for millions of years, eager to tear Murno to pieces. "Bastard! Bastard! Unforgivable!" A beastly voice came from Goten's throat, expressing his monstrous hatred for Murno. Beerus, standing beside him, didn't hide his disdain for Murno. Seeing Goten's painful appearance, he hated Murno even more. Despite Murno bringing him and Shin here to save Goten, Beerus would never forget that Murno caused all this. "Hey, tell us, you bastard, how can we get Goten out of here? I hope you didn't lie to us before. Otherwise, even if I have to lay my life on line, I will destroy you," Beerus said coldly. Though he knew he was no match for Murno, he was willing to risk his life to make him pay. "I didn't lie to you," Murno replied seriously. "But if you want to get Goten out of here, you have to sacrifice. The 2 of you may stay here forever." Murno's solemn face showed he didn't want to see God of Destruction Beerus and Supreme Kai Shin fall. But for the sake of all beings in the universe, they had to make a sacrifice. If he could, he would have sacrificed himself to free Goten. Beerus and Shin's expressions sank upon hearing this, but they quickly returned to normal. They had already considered this possibility before coming. "Stop talking nonsense. Hurry up and tell us what to do," Beerus demanded impatiently. If they delayed too long and the Grand Priest found out, it would be disastrous. As Whis warned, they might fail to save Goten and be eliminated for nothing. "Essence sacrifice," Murno explained. "Both God of Destruction and Supreme Kai have the powers of laws in their bodies. One is destruction, the other is creation. The iron chains binding Goten are condensed by the power of pure laws. Only if the God of Destruction and Supreme Kai sacrifice their essence simultaneously can Goten break free from these iron chains. I'm very sorry I can't do this myself, otherwise I would definitely not sacrifice you." Essence, sacrifice. Beerus and Shin were taken aback. They understood what essence sacrifice meant. It seemed they were really going to stay here forever. But whatever. Living for hundreds of millions of years was enough. What? Goten was also taken aback. A trace of clarity appeared in his fierce gaze. He immediately said, "Beerus, Shin, don't believe this guy's nonsense. Your strength is too weak. It's impossible to save me. I am already very grateful that you found a way to come here." Although Goten desperately wanted to leave this dastardly place every minute and second, he couldn't accept escaping at the expense of Beerus and Shin. "Goten, you saved me twice. You could say you gave me new life twice. This time, it's just giving my life back to you. If you consider us friends, don't feel guilty. We would love to do this for you. One day, when you have absolute strength, it would be even better if you can resurrect us," Beerus said, relieved with a smile. "Yes, Goten," Shin said. "As my best friend, you have never ignored me because of your strength. You helped me get rid of Majin Buu. That's right, I should help you." Shin smiled at Goten and walked directly to him. Waving his right hand lightly, a box filled with an ancient atmosphere appeared before him. Inside were 5 space-time rings. "This is the last gift I will give you. After Beerus and I are gone, these rings will be useless. I hope they can save your life after you escape from here." Shin put all 5 space-time rings on Goten's hands. The rings allowed the wearer to travel through time and space at will, giving Goten a chance to escape the Grand Priest's pursuit. "Beerus, Shin." Goten's chest surged with emotion. He never thought Beerus and Shin would sacrifice their lives to save him. "Okay, it must be done as soon as possible. If the Grand Priest finds out, things will be difficult," Murno reminded urgently. Goten no longer objected. Murno began to exert his angel power, instantly turning Beerus and Shin into 2 light beams that went straight into the chains binding Goten. In the next second, the iron chains containing the power of laws disappeared without a trace, along with the presence of Beerus and Shin. "Beerus! Shin! Ha!" After breaking free, Goten raised his head and roared, venting the anger in his heart. After 3 full minutes, he calmed down slightly, though scarlet cracks remained in his eyes. "Goten, let's get out of this place. If that old man comes over, it will be very difficult to leave," Murno said quickly. With a wave of his hand, he summoned a portal, and their bodies disappeared into the void. When they reappeared, they were in the endless universe. Goten looked at the flower on the back of Murno's hand and instantly understood everything. The Murno who exploded in the Void Realm last time was just a clone. The one before him now was the real Murno, in full force. "Congratulations, Goten. Although the decades in the Void Realm caused you pain, your strength has undergone earth-shaking changes. While it may still be impossible to compete with the Grand Priest, he probably won't be able to kill you easily either," Murno said with a happy smile. This was his ultimate plan, to cultivate a mortal strong enough to rival the Grand Priest and Zeno. Only mortals knew what it was like to be treated like ants by the Grand Priest and Zeno. Therefore, only a mortal could better protect mortals. The previous challenges, including not stopping Goten from killing God of Destruction and having Goten imprisoned in the Void Realm, were all part of his plan. It now appeared that his plan had been very successful. Goten had gotten stronger and already had the kind of rage he needed against Zeno and the Grand Priest. "Do you know what I want to do most now?" Goten stared at Murno like a fiend and asked in a hoarse voice. "Of course I know. You want to kill me," Murno answered calmly, as if it was all within his expectations. "The answer is absolutely correct. I don't care what your plans are or what your ultimate goal is. But your appearance led to the deaths of Beerus and Shin and made me stay in that damn place for 75 years, so you deserve to die." As soon as the words fell, Goten transformed into his limit break form and disappeared like a mirage. Murno's face changed suddenly. He didn't even have a chance to react. Goten's fist pierced directly through his chest. Poof! As I said, threats come with a price. Goten's expression didn't change at all as he spoke in an extremely cold tone after piercing Murno's chest with a punch. Although Goten's fist had pierced Murno's chest, Murno's expression remained unchanged, still wearing the kind smile from before. He looked down at the wound on his chest and said to Goten, "You have become really strong, Goten. I feel happy for you from the bottom of my heart, and I also feel happy for all those sad mortals. My purpose is achieved. Even if I die now, I will die without regret. I know that the death of Lord Beerus and Lord Supreme Kai has dealt a great blow to you. In order to express my apology, let me give you something as well." After Murno's voice fell, his hand suddenly grabbed Goten's wrist. At that moment, Goten felt countless pieces of knowledge and information appearing in his mind. A steady stream of power was gathering in his body, until Murno's body completely dissipated before his eyes. "Goten, if you meet a man named Hearts in the future, please don't kill him. He is my most proud disciple. Just like you, he is a very remarkable mortal warrior, and he may have the same philosophy as you. Goodbye, Goten." After a moment of reverberation, Murno's voice and body completely disappeared. At this time, an angel staff suddenly appeared in Goten's hand. He knew it was a gift from Murno, including the angel power and knowledge accumulated over hundreds of millions of years. "You bastard! What the hell have you done?" Goten frowned tightly. He was a little confused now. While trapped in the Void Realm, he wanted to kill Murno every moment. Especially after seeing Beerus and Shin die saving him, his intent to killing Murno was overwhelming. But now, he was a lot more confused. At this time, Goten fully understood Murno's ideals. He was really different from other angels. All he wanted was to free mortals from the control of the Grand Priest and angels, letting mortals be free from the burden of divine superiority. But soon, Goten stabilized his mood. Then, there was a determined look in his eyes again. No matter what Murno did to him, what he did before made him deserve to die. His body flashed and disappeared directly into a portal. When he appeared next, Goten had arrived in the realm of the God of Destruction in the 7th universe. At this time, Goku and Vegeta were waiting anxiously. Whis was sitting on the side. Obviously, after Beerus died, Whis lost all his angel abilities. "Goten, it's really you. You're back." The moment they saw Goten, Goku and Gohan walked towards him excitedly. "Dad." Goten also said hello. After killing Murno, the anger in his heart dissipated a little. His emotions gradually calmed down. But the Grand Priest and the God of Destruction of those two universes were absolutely unforgivable. They provoked him first, then the Grand Priest indiscriminately locked him in that damn place and didn't punish them at all. "Where are Lord Beerus and Lord Supreme Kai? Why didn't they come back with you?" Seeing that only Goten came back, Goku hurriedly asked. "They sacrificed themselves to get me out of that place," Goten replied. But when answering this question, his face was very pained. This favor was really too great, so big that he didn't know how to repay it. But one day he would definitely revive Beerus and Shin. After hearing Goten's words, the old Supreme Kai had a very solemn expression, but this was also within his expectations. If they didn't pay the price, how could they save Goten? He had already guessed all this. It was estimated that when the boy Shin made up his mind to come to the God of Destruction realm, he already had that kind of mindset. It's just that Kibito on the side had difficulty believing such a result. After all, he and Shin had been together for countless years. He had long been used to being by Supreme Kai Shin's side. TN. I don't know why old Kai is alive. Chalk it up to the life link being transferred to Shin. Thus old Kai no longer being the kill switch for Beerus. You don't have to be so pessimistic. After a while, I will find a way to bring them back to life. The most important thing now is to take you out of here immediately and then send you to a place where the Grand Priest can't find you, Goten said, looking at the solemn crowd. Although he didn't know if the Grand Priest would take out his anger on the 7th universe due to this matter, he must take precautions before it happens. Okay. Goku and the old Supreme Kai also nodded quickly. Now was not the time to be sad. What everyone did this time obviously challenged Zeno and the Grand Priest's authority. It was estimated that all of them would be punished soon. Even the entire 7th universe might be completely wiped out. Just as he was about to turn around and leave, Goten suddenly looked at Whis beside him. His expression was a little cold. Whis was the son of the Grand Priest. If he was to be killed, it would definitely make the Grand Priest very upset. But at the same time, he was his master. Whis had taught him everything, including his strength. So, no matter how much he was wronged in the Void Realm, Goten wouldn't attack Whis, no matter how angry he was. After a glance at Whis, Goten took Goku and the others and left the God of Destruction realm. Whis' face was serious, knowing what was going on in his heart. Upon returning to Earth, Goten roughly explained to everyone what had happened. When they heard that Goten had been imprisoned in a void place for 75 years, their faces turned grim. They felt extremely guilty because they couldn't help at all. "Okay, you don't have to feel so glum. The Grand Priest's strength is too strong," Goten reassured. "If he imprisons me anywhere, you cannot save me. But now the situation is very bad. Everyone must leave the 7th universe." Looking at the remorseful faces of the crowd, Goten spoke seriously. Regardless of whether the Grand Priest would take out his anger on the entire 7th universe because of his offense, he had to be on guard in advance. "Goten, we will listen to you," Goku said seriously. "If the Grand Priest really comes, we will only cause more trouble for you by staying by your side," Chi-Chi and Videl added with worried faces. "Goten, you must stay safe." Especially Videl, whose relationship with Goten had just been established. She didn't expect so many things to happen. "Don't worry, I am very strong now. Even the Grand Priest may not be able to kill me," Goten said confidently. After speaking briefly with everyone again, Goten summoned a portal. Using the space-time ability of the Time Ring, he directly sent them to another timeline. However, because his mastery of the Time Ring was not yet perfect, everyone was sent away to a random timeline. He would look for them later. With the Time Ring, he could travel through any time and space without restriction. Just as Goten sent everyone away from Earth, a familiar purple portal appeared in the sky. In the next second, a figure slowly walked out from inside. Dressed in a dark blue professional suit with silver, slicked-back hair, it was the Grand Priest. "Old man, are you finally here?" Goten grinned, his eyes shining like a beast as he looked at the Grand Priest. Being trapped in the void for more than 70 years was all because of him. "Goten, you committed a serious crime before, but now you have escaped from the Void Realm," the Grand Priest said coldly. "You not only made the God of Destruction and Supreme Kai from the 7th universe disappear, but you also dared to kill Murno. Do you know that what you and he have done will push you to the path of no return?" Originally, according to the laws, Goten's mistakes would have led to imprisonment in the Void Realm for hundreds of years. But if Zeno had simply reprimanded him, he would have been fine. Now he had escaped from the Void Realm while he was to wait there for judgment, adding crime to crime. Not only did the God of Destruction and Supreme Kai of a universe fall again, but Murno also died at his hands. This time the Grand Priest would never let Goten go, either because of the divine laws or because Goten killed Murno. Murno was his favorite child. Despite Murno's repeated mistakes, he never let him disappear, just sealed him somewhere. "Grand Priest, I'm tired of hearing your high-sounding words. You'll never understand what it's like to be stuck living there. Every second was suffering for me. I don't know if I will go down the path of no return, but I do know that I will definitely kill you." Goten's eyes flickered with violence and killing intent. "Originally, Lord Zeno wanted you to be the grand God of Destruction, but it seems that there is no need for that now. You won't have that chance either." The Grand Priest's eyes were also full of killing intent. He could feel that Goten's strength was not what it used to be. The current Goten was estimated to be very difficult to kill. Wearing a time ring, he posed a significant threat. More importantly, Goten seemed to be full of resentment towards him and Zeno now. If not eliminated completely today, he might become a threat to the existence of all multiverses. As soon as the Grand Priest's voice fell, he blasted out with a palm. The terrifying angel power was released from his body instantly, creating an unparalleled sense of oppression. Feeling the powerful divine ki, Goten instantly transformed into the form of Limit Break Super Saiyan 4. Ha! With a roar, the powerful momentum instantly tore away all the oppression from the Grand Priest. The huge sense of oppression disappeared instantly.